We're not Disney adults. We're just adults that like Disney.
We're not haters. We just have opinions.
We're not cat ladies, but we are childless. We're two entertainment creatives exploring culture at the intersection of fandom and our professional careers.
I'm Kaylin.
I'm Jacob.
And this is The Childless Millennials.
Welcome, everyone, to The Childless Millennials. I'm Jacob.
I'm Kaylin.
Oh, well, we are so close to Halloween.
I know. Days away.
I know. And I feel like so much has happened since we last had our episode overrun by ghosts and Patti LuPone.
This has just been like a haunted month for our show.
And also, based on the last episode of Agatha, Patti LuPone knew that was going to happen.
She sure did. She knew.
She knew.
She knew we were. That's why I said the living ghost of Patti LuPone. And then when I watched that episode, I was like, well, not too far off.
It's really good. It was
a really good episode.
Yeah. It's Connor isn't watching it, so I'm watching it alone. But it is very fun.
It's very fun.
Also, I went to Horror Nights for the first time. It was so much fun.
Did you like it?
I thought we could not have done it more perfectly, thanks to you. You just literally it was just. I was like, this is what it's like when I take people to Disneyland.
Exactly. Well, because it's like that, that's very much my element. Like, Yuli and I go there every week. Like, Horror Nights is like our thing. Like, we talk about it a lot during the year where we're like, we just pretty much don't sleep from like September to like the end of October, because Horror Nights kind of takes over like our entire personality and social calendar, and we have an optimized way of doing it so that if we want to do everything in one night, we can, or if we want to just hang out and vibe, we can do that too. And that's on being a professional theme park goer. But yeah, exactly. It's like you taking somebody to Disneyland. Like you have like, you know how to do it. You know how to hit the highlights. And I'm glad we were able to share that experience with you.
I know. I just I was so scared to go to the first time. I think I went to Not Scary Farm first. And I was so scared of like the mazes and stuff. But like once you like get it, like it is really fun.
Yeah, the jump scares are fun. Yeah. Like I find them to be fun anyway.
Oh, there was one that really got me. Do you remember that, Connor? I forget which maze it was in. Was it in like the meat one? I don't know.
I don't remember, but my favorite thing about the whole night is learning that you scream in tenor. I mean, honestly, yeah, it was giving soprano at moments, but like people are screaming and like, oh, you know, whatever, and you get scared and you literally, like it's like a full theatrical.
That's hilarious.
Because so for context, to anyone listening, we made Connor and Jacob go in front of us so we could watch them experience these new things for the very first time. And I will tell you, we were laughing.
Oh,
we were definitely laughing behind you because your reactions were just so funny, and you just like screaming in a full soprano was really like the highlight of my night.
I do have a high.
And then when we went to the Purge show.
Oh, yes.
How delighted you were by the gore really got me. That was really funny.
Because it was like, I mean, you've seen those movies where you're like, that's like excessive, but like theatrically, it's like a gallon of blood.
A gallon of blood,
it's
and it's bright red, and it's like she like hit one thing, and it's like 4 liters of blood shoot out
like
into
it's
the air.
So campy, and like it doesn't move like blood; it moves like water because it's just like probably dyed. Red water.
The first like blood thing happens in the show, and I just hear Jacob laughing. And I was like, that is not the reaction I expected, but I'm here for it.
I loved it. It was
good.
So
I'm glad you had a good time.
Oh yeah. And speaking of theme parks, we made it back into another Facebook post.
We did. The Childless Millennials. That's us.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
I took my daughter to Disney for the first time a few weeks ago, and let me say this. Disney adults ruin it for the rest of us. The people who actually go with their kids. The amount of bridesmaids and just adults with no kids was ridiculous. We were there for 11 hours and only got 3 rides because of all the adults and bridesmaids. My daughter was so upset when we left because she didn't get to do most of what she wanted. It took us 2 hours to get through security because we got stuck behind 3 groups of bridesmaids who each had to get their bags dig through. Why are you adults taking up so much space at a place that is supposed to be magical for kids? Also, the outfits that most of these adults were wearing were ridiculous. Are we here to find a man or to spend time with our kids? Adults, you need to do better. Wait, but I didn't realize we were slut shaming too.
Yes. Well, okay. So
I thought she was making fun of like the Spirit jersey.
No. To that point, though, I will say I'm gonna make some assumptions about this person's line of thought. Okay, I'm making some assumptions here, but I'm going to assume that you are someone who believes that a man and a woman should get married and procreate, and like, right? That's what it sounds like. So if we don't go somewhere to find a man, how are we supposed to then in the future enjoy Disneyland with our kids?
Period.
That's what I have to say about that. Also, 3 rides in 11 hours is poor planning on your part.
I was like, help.
Poor planning on your part and has nothing to do with me, my outfit, my bridesmaids, or any of the rest of it. That's also, a you problem, bestie.
I also I have to remind you that you waiting 2 hours for security is not because of 3 groups of bridesmaids.
Tis not. That sounds like either you maybe were in the wrong line, or it was a super busy day. Maybe it was an Oogie Boogie Bash and you didn't show up to, it prepared for that amount of crowd. Maybe that's a logistical issue that like you could very reasonably take up with the Walt Disney Company. I don't think we're blaming bridesmaids for security.
It's just so good. It because also like the typos are so revealing too. Like it's in such a like eerie. Yeah. Anyway, I love that. It brought, I just was like, here we are still doing the thing. Facebook status is still
in this economy and with the current cost of living. It is a consolation to know that we do live rent free in their minds.
Period.
It's the only thing we get for free.
I was about to say it's the only
free rent we get is in their minds.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is this new,
Tell me.
It's like when you buy a car and then you just see that car everywhere. I feel like that's what's happened like since we started this is then I'm like, huh? And I just hear like, literally, I hear like childless everywhere, millennials, like that Facebook status anyway. So crazy that Rachel Bloom and Dan Greger are doing a comedy called Do You Want Kids?
Yeah.
And I was like, we need to be on it. We need to.
I think we need to be like part of the press tour for it is what I'm feeling.
Literally. And I guess.
Well, and did you read the description of what the show is about?
Yes. So interesting.
It's so interesting.
So basically, like, have you seen the musical If Then?
No.
Okay, so it's essentially the musical If Then, which I'm sure is also basically another movie from like the 80s or something.
Okay.
But it's like 2 alternate realities where they, one of the realities they have kids and the other they don't have kids.
Okay, got it.
So it's like, what would have happened if you did have kids or, which is so... I was like, that sounds super interesting and also
very
like,
interesting.
Is that a comedy or is it like a bear comedy?
Yeah.
Like the bear's like
like the bear is like a comedy on a technicality.
Like the most dramatic. Yeah. I've never cried so much watching a comedy.
Correct.
Like,
but like sometimes when like him and cousin fight, it's funny, I guess.
Yeah. I just, it's crazy. Literally, I just saw, I just was scrolling through Twitter yesterday and saw a evangelical white nationalist pastor saying that we should repeal the 19th Amendment because women should be getting their vote from their men and that their purpose is to literally pastor saying this, that they should,
Yeah.
we're not trying to take away their vote, but the man is actually voting for the family and not for the individual. And so they need to take their cues from the men that they love, and, you know, that women are just here to procreate. I mean, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Yeah.
Crazy.
It's in the year of our Lord 2024. How did we get here?
In the year of our Lord 2024, repeal the 19th Amendment. Well, for those of us that don't have children and are, you know, out here ruining the traditional family unit in line for Space Mountain.
Yes.
You know, we're performers, we have careers, and something that I struggle with is how much space do you take up before you're taking up too much space?
Okay,
and this is connected to my not this. I clearly have an opinion about it, but maybe it's just because I'm jealous that I'm not doing that. My not this is not this Instagram post of Cynthia Erivo flipping out about the fan poster that somebody made to make it look more like the Broadway Wicked poster, and it's covering her face. And she said, I've never seen something so offensive. And she said, you are erasing me. And I was like, Mama, it's a fan poster. Yeah. But she's, okay, so I just don't even know where to begin, because I don't want to sound like bitchy, or because her talent is like unbelievable.
Like otherworldly. She's so good.
Yes. I went to Color Purple on Broadway on opening night. I was like, it was the most spiritual experience I've ever had in a theater.
Would you say you were changed for good?
Boo. No, but I don't know if I told you this. The woman behind me was an investor.
Yes, you told me that.
Yeah, and she was like, I now know that I invested in the right show based on your reaction. Because I was like standing up and screaming, like snot, ugly crying. Like,
I love that for you.
Oh, like she is, the talent is just not of this world. Yeah. Like, it's crazy. But she has always been really cringe on social media.
Interesting.
And like, again, where's your PR?
Yeah.
The PR is no PR. What's happening? Yeah. And I'm like so excited for Wicked, but I also don't want her to tank this movie because she is cringe.
Yeah.
So this goes like because like somebody tweeted like, oh, the Broadway divas, we've all known that she's like, she's always kind of like done stuff like this. Going back to the fact that it was rumored that Beyonce was going to be Nala in the live action Lion King. Okay. And she was like, she retweeted it and was like, slowly raises hand and says, can I try?
Okay.
And so the Beehive naturally like came for her. Yeah. And they were like, girl, who are you? Like, we're talking about Beyonce. Like, this is Beyonce. Like, mama. And she literally was like, oh, you don't know who I am? Well, that Tony and Grammy on my desk will tell you who I am. Like, and like, it was just very like, I'm this. Like, it was just really like, she was engaging with the fans in a way that was like really cringe. And I just think that like that post should have been like a close friends, maybe.
Like a Finsta. Yeah. Maybe we kept that in the drafts.
Yeah, because I don't think that anybody was erasing her. Also, like, it was no offense to whoever made it. It was just a terrible fan poster. Yeah, like the lips were really big and like it looked blurry. Like it didn't look great, but I was like, we're not erasing you.
Yeah, I struggle with the feeling of like, okay, like we see diva behavior and like we call it out and it does feel cringe to a certain extent. But I personally struggle with like, I am not a Black woman. I don't have her lived experience. Right. So I cannot say whether or not it feels like erasure to her. Do you know, like, that's just like my perspective on it.
100%.
I think that her feeling about it obviously is very valid to her. I can't say that she's wrong because I don't have like her lived experience as a Black woman. I do think there is a world in which she could have drawn attention to the fact that like it doesn't feel appropriate to cover a Black woman's face who is like supposed to be like front and center on this poster. But I appreciate you for your support of this show? Because I've seen a lot of people talking about the fact that like, you know, this is a cinematic representation of a musical theater show that is on Broadway. So they're bringing in a different part of the fandom and like exciting, like this fan edit brings in another part of the fandom and is like getting everybody excited to go to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, why couldn't she take the stance of like, you know, I'm losing the words, but like basically like when fans create media in support of something, it's like free marketing.
Yes.
It's additional free marketing for your project. Yes. I wonder if there was a world in which she could have expressed how it felt to her as a Black woman to feel erased while also acknowledging, I know that you're so passionate about this thing that you just like this felt like a good thing to do, but it didn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a world in which that could have been said. I don't know. Definitely think the way it was interpreted is like shitting on the Broadway fans and like and let's just like be clear for anyone who might be watching or listening that like isn't familiar with Wicked as a Broadway entity. The reason the poster is made the way that it is because it's an ever-changing cast, right? So instead of having to change the cast every single time a new Elphaba or a new Glinda comes in, the poster has never changed because there are no defining features on the poster. So in this edit, it is very clear. The movie poster was very clearly Cynthia and Ariana. Right. This edit changed that to make it more ambiguous, like the Wicked poster.
I don't even know if
she feels erased.
And I don't even know if it's that deep. Like, I just think that it's like, it's a huge show. That's the logo. Anybody that grew up with that being their favorite musical, like, knows that logo. So it's like, oh my God, like,
it's fan art.
Yeah, like, let's do it. And I just think that it was so, like, I just was like, nobody is controversial. It's like when Marjorie Taylor Greene, like, wore the shirt on the Senate floor that was like, you can't silence me, or whatever. And I was like, nobody's silencing you. You're literally speaking into the microphone.
Yeah.
And I was like, nobody is erasing you. You're the star of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, you are the star of the movie. It hasn't even come out yet. The press is insane. Like, nobody is erasing you.
Yeah.
Like, we are all so excited to see you. Yeah. You know, but I think in the context of just like, you know, I thought she was trying to erase Beyonce by saying like, oh, I want to play it because the insinuation was, well, I'm a musical theater person and I'm an actress. You know, so it's like, well, why are you like, like it's announced that she's playing this role and you're like, oh, can I try? Like, that's.
So in that case, like it was already announced that Beyonce was going to be that character.
Well, it was like, it wasn't like official, like the press release hadn't come out, but clearly the whatever this press came out was right.
Yeah.
Like Beyonce tapped to play.
I see.
You know
I see what you mean. Okay. Yeah.
So, and I don't know. I just wondered how she would feel if somebody said that about when they said Cynthia Erivo tapped to play Elphaba. I wonder how she would have felt if Jessica Vosk said like, "Can I try?"
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But I just, it's weird because that level of confidence and that level of like, whatever she has is the same thing that allows her to go on stage and deliver a performance the way that she can.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, you know, I'm always curious as to that line and that boundary because we're expected as like artists to really like take up that space. And I find it sometimes like, but you also want to leave room for other people. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know. I'm such a fan like of her talent, you know, but I'm also just like, girl, like, just don't.
It did feel like I don't want to say disproportional, but like out of character for the rest of like the PR for the film.
Like she literally said it was one of the most offensive things that she had ever seen. And that's why I was like, concerned. Like, or also jealous of the privilege that might be one of the most offensive things you've ever seen. Like, this is like not, there's more things to be offended at than fan art.
Yeah.
You know, AOC had fan art of somebody shooting her and killing her. Mm-hmm. That's offensive. Not like, oh, we're going to honor the original post. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my not this.
I have a bit of a not this. I do.
You do?
I do,
okay.
yeah. I maybe it doesn't qualify as a not this. You guys can tell us. I don't care.
Mine was more of like a not this.
Yeah. So this is a little bit of a callback to something that we've talked about before, which is just in the sense that it has to do with Chappell Roan. So Chappell Roan the not this, I guess we're gonna call it that, is not this underlying misogyny and how we judge celebrities for how they treat paparazzi. That's that. So Chappell Roan went to the premiere of Olivia Rodrigo's new documentary movie about her tour, and on the press line taking photos, went to one of the photographers and called them out directly and said, "You were really awful to me at the Grammys after party. You were taking photos and you were really, really awful to me. And I think that you owe me an apology." I don't know if the person apologized. Obviously, they weren't mic'd. We can't hear what they're saying. You can only see her and what she's saying.
I just will pause and say, I did not realize until you told me this that she recognized the guy from that.
Yes.
I thought that she was taking photos and like he yelled something, and then in that moment,
no,
she was like, "You."
He was, or I'm assuming it's a he. I think it is. He was a photographer at a like Grammys post event, and apparently was really awful to her there, and she recognized him and called him out for it.
He must have been
truly heinous
to recognize that person in a press
sea
line
of paparazzi.
Like, that's honestly a gag.
Yeah. So that clip gets posted. Obviously, it's going viral. People have a lot of problems with it. People think that with this, on the heels of, at the Grammys, before the Grammys, it was the whole, situation with her yelling at the paparazzi because they were being rude to her and her assistant.
Right.
And she yelled at them and all that kind of stuff. So these two things combined, people have gotten the opinion, and there's a lot of conversation about how she's just doing it for attention now. And it's ridiculous, and it's not appropriate, and she just needs to let it go. And oh well, you're a celebrity, you're going to be photographed, they're going to yell at you, like that's what you signed up for, is the attitude towards her. Literally the same day, like it had to be in the same news cycle, like within 24 hours. There's a video of Tom Holland being pretty aggressive with a paparazzi who was being aggressive with Zendaya. And he has words with them and like, I think either pushed them or pushed the camera out of the way. And everybody takes that clip and is like championing him as like, yes, you better defend your girl. Like, good for you. That was a good thing to do. So it's good and fine and celebrated when a man is defending a woman. But it is bad and attention-seeking and out of touch when a woman is defending herself. Yeah. That's my not this.
That's really, that's really interesting. I will like my benefit of the doubt that I would give the situation is that I just think, regardless of gender, like we do really struggle in a culture of just like defending yourself in general.
Absolutely.
Like when you defend another, like I just know this in my own life. It's so much easier for me to defend another person than it is to defend myself. But like,
I also want to say, I don't think there's anything wrong with what Tom Holland did. Right. Like, I'm not saying what he did was wrong and what she did was right. Yeah. I think they are both correct in this situation.
Yeah.
To like the defense of both situations, I believe is correct. I don't think he was wrong by any means, for sure.
Yeah. It is wild that when you put it in that sort of comparison to see it like that.
Yeah.
Because she's like really, I don't really understand, like I know we've talked about her a little bit on the show, and I'm such a fan of her music. I don't like follow I'm like the details of like her outside of that, but I was like, what one comment that I saw on the clip of her doing that was like, stop saying that you're playing a character, then like you're not playing a character if you're like doing that, because she's there as Chappell Roan like in drag. And I was like, okay, guys, stop. Like,
but even to that point, like, okay, so people are allowed to be rude to a character, but not allowed to be rude to a real person. Like that's we're splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah.
If that's the argument.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we need to like I don't know if I don't really have like an opinion either way. Like I feel like I don't follow either of them well enough to know or like have enough context to get it. But I just like in general, like I do think that we need to get back to a point in our communication and culture that if somebody hurts your feelings, that you can look at them directly and say that was not appropriate.
That was not appropriate.
Owe me an apology.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing Chappell Roan do that in a very public way in real time. And to your point of like how millennials specifically struggle with like defending ourselves sometimes and standing up for ourselves. We are a people-pleasing generation.
Right.
It can seem really jarring to see somebody be so bold in setting their boundaries and be so direct. And I think that, again, my opinion of it is like, I don't think she was in the wrong at all. Like my commentary is more so on like the zeitgeist's reaction to like disproportionate reaction to two things that I think is rooted in misogyny. It's like we champion him for doing it and we damn her for doing it.
Right.
And I think that that's like the part that we need to like analyze about ourselves is like, why is it okay for him and not okay for her?
Also, I will say, because I haven't seen I'm only saying this because I haven't seen the Tom Holland clip. But like in defense of Chappell Roan too, something that I had to work on in my own therapy and when you start to stand up for yourself for the first time is that an inappropriate action does not entitle you to an appropriate reaction. If there is an inappropriate reaction, in my, like, you have to practice standing up for yourself. And so she is very new to like this superstardom that she has. And so do I think that maybe she handled it not as great as she could have, but you know what? She's practicing.
Yeah.
Like she's young.
She's practicing.
She's human. And like anytime that you start to like step into your power and authority and you take up that space and you say, hey, that's not okay. It's always going to be messy because you're filled with rage and you're doing it for the first time and it's not perfect. So like, I know me and this, like you said, this people pleasing generation is like, I was raised then if I'm afraid that I'm gonna come across that way, mean or bitchy or rude, then I just don't do anything.
Yeah.
But now you're like
now
you have to mess up. Like you have to practice your fight energy and whatever, so that one day you can just be like, no, like, you know, or whatever, whatever you deem is appropriate.
Yeah, like,
Whitney. Oh, sorry, that
levitated out of my body
because the healed Whitney. No, this is on topic. Okay, Real Housewives of Salt Lake. I got hooked. Kaylin is caught up, but I thought it was iconic when Whitney said, "Do you want to see the healed Whitney? Fuck you, Lisa Barlow." Because I was like, "Let's go!" I like loved it because I was like, "Yes, sometimes that's what it looks like."
Yeah, and sometimes healing is messy. And it is not perfect, and we are not all we are not as humans able to just like flip this switch and be unbothered. We have to practice this kind of behavior, right? And like that's exactly what you were saying, which is like we have to practice reacting to things that bother us, and we have to practice standing up for ourselves, and we have to practice, and healing is a messy process, and setting boundaries can be a messy process.
Right.
And I just think that it piggybacking off of what you said just a second ago, if you engage with me in a rude way, I do not owe you niceness.
No.
You have been rude, so I don't owe you niceness. This is how I feel about me personally. In my journey with setting boundaries and standing up for myself and defending myself and my beliefs and whatever, my perfect reaction to something like that is indifference, not kindness. And that's just for me. If somebody is rude to me, or if I have been mistreated, or whatever the situation is, what I aspire to is indifference. I don't owe you niceness if you're rude to me.
I guess maybe that this is just like the episode of like me feeling like I'm saying controversial things, but I actually had a discovery very recently for myself that this saying of like kindness costs you nothing, it costs you nothing to be kind, I actually don't agree with that. I actually think that kindness does cost you something in situations like that. If you are in a hostile, abusive environment, your kindness costs you a lot. And it costs you a lot of your sanity.
Yeah.
And I think that what that saying is assuming is that kindness is the base level. And actually the base level is not kindness.
No.
The base level is treating somebody with humanity and seeing them as a human being.
Yeah.
And that can just be, hello, good morning. Like that's not, but growing up a people-pleasing Catholic altar boy, you're always like, oh my God, hi, yes, oh my gosh, sure, you want to step all over me? I guess, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like not everybody is entitled to the like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I actually think my perception of it is that is exactly what Chappell Roan was doing in this most recent like viral moment, because she was on the press line, she was standing in her photo spot, she didn't yell. She actually left the photo spot and walked over to the barricade and spoke to them directly. And it was very, like, her tone of voice was very level. She said, "You were very rude to me. You treated me very poorly," basically, is what she said. I don't remember the exact quote. But she said, "And I think I deserve an apology." And it was very direct, but it wasn't angry. It didn't feel like filled with vitriol.
Right.
She just saw that person, walked directly over to them and said what she needed to say. And I think that people don't like when people stand up for themselves, and especially when women stand up for themselves. And I think that like we as a society just really need to look into why. My perspective on it is that I'm just witnessing another situation in which like there is a double standard, and I'm witnessing a situation in which people are uncomfortable with the fact that this young woman who they perceive to be at the beginning of her career, even though she has been performing and writing music for 10 years, they have this idea that like she needs to be quiet and be grateful and pay her dues.
Yes.
And she is not willing to do that.
And
for myriad reasons that I don't know, because I don't know her. It could be the way she was raised. It could be the therapy that she's gone to. It could be the life coach that I have no idea why she is the way that she is. I just personally don't see a problem with it. And the people who do, I am just simply asking them to take a look at their misogyny.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I'm realizing too with this that there's so much ageism wrapped up in the misogyny too, because if Patti LuPone did that on the red carpet, people would be like, yes, queen,
yes, diva,
like get it. But because you're a young woman and this is your first, you've just broken out onto this scene, you aren't allowed to do that.
Yeah,
like that's not.
Like
that's
I
not
guess
fair.
I guess my opinion on it is like, you don't like earn being a diva, you are a diva. And that at some point people accept the fact that you're a diva and move on. Is kind of the way I think about it. Like, and to me, Chappell Roan is a diva.
Yeah.
Like she is a diva in terms of the way she performs, like the style of music she performs. She's a diva in the way that she acts. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Right.
Like, be a diva, own it. I love that for you.
Yeah.
But people are upset with it, and then 20 years from now we'll be like, yeah, I mean, she's one of the iconic divas. And it's like, okay, well, you didn't like her then.
Yeah, I mean,
you love that she's doing it now, but you hated it then. So like, let's
and
maybe in 20 years when we're still doing the Childless Millennials podcast,
oh my God,
we can talk about it then.
Literally. Yeah. And if I were my therapist, I would say like, you teach people how to treat you. Yeah. And so she's just teaching people
she's teaching people how to treat her in a very public way.
Yeah. And it really is nobody's business.
It's nobody's business.
It's actually between the two of them.
The reactions to it are just interesting.
Interesting.
That's it.
I think it's time.
It is time. I'm so excited for this.
It's time for
Violently Millennial.
That's my favorite transition music by far.
Me too. And I'm pretty sure in January when they announce the lineup for Warped Tour, that's going to be on it. Just saying.
I need like the full version.
Yeah,
I need like a full version of a full single.
Connor is headlining Warped Tour with Violently
like
Millennial.
on Disney Channel when they would be like they had the music videos and then you would finally get like the full version of the Kim Possible theme song.
Yes.
Like that's what I feel like I need.
We
like
need
the
that
full full version of
We
Violently
definitely need a
Millennial.
full version of Violently Millennial. Drop the Patreon. Let's go. Okay, Violently Millennial today.
Question.
Yes.
Spirit jerseys? Violently Millennial? We were having this conversation.
I thought we already talked about this. Did we not?
No.
Yeah, Spirit jerseys are very millennial.
But okay, so I did a fan,
Yeah.
my friend Katie, who listens to the podcast and constantly sends me her thoughts, which I did love. She was like, I think that we need like degrees. There needs to be like soft, violently millennial.
Okay.
Like there's violently millennial, but then there's like like on the scale.
Okay.
Like, I don't think like a spirit jersey is like violently millennial, but I think that it's like a little. Like it's like a little slap in the face.
Like a little cat slap.
Yeah.
Not like you got punched by Muhammad Ali.
No. Correct.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Well, spirit jerseys are very millennial coded.
Okay.
Definitely.
Period.
But I mean, you look so cute in them.
I know.
Like,
it's my honey mansion.
also, I do just want to say, because I have had this like thought in the back of my mind, like, I want everybody to know we're not like violently millennial is not a pejorative. Like it's not a bad thing. Like
no.
we are millennials.
Oh, yeah.
I want to make sure people know that. It's like it's just a fact. It's not like an indictment of character or
Correct.
a judgment. It's like no, these are things that are like quintessential to like millennial culture, millennial core.
Period.
And today we're going to be talking about Violently Millennial Internet Edition.
Oh my God.
And these are some things that society has deemed millennial.
AIM.
Well, we're not going that far back, but yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. X's beginning and ending on your username.
GIFs.
Or as violently millennial? A GIF? I'm also proud of you for saying GIF.
Thank you.
You know that the creator of GIF says that it is GIF.
Says that it is GIF.
It is not a GIF.
And don't get me wrong, I understand why people think because it's graphics interchange format is what it stands for. So graphics, GIF. I get it. I get where you're coming from. But when the creator of it tells you it's pronounced GIF, you should just say GIF.
Yes.
And I think the fact that we're debating the pronunciation is a Muhammad Ali punch level of violently millennial. I think that really ranks high. Debating, because we haven't even started to touch on why GIFs are violently millennial, and we just launched right into a debate about the pronunciation.
I know.
That feels so millennial to me.
It's also like the saving them in your photos app and like favoriting them and then having an album GIF. A whole folder.
I don't use GIFs a lot anymore. Oh, I've made GIFs. I have the app. I've taught all my friends how to make GIFs.
Connor just worked a wedding and they had a GIF maker at the wedding.
Like a photo booth?
They would like come up and film you and it would make it a GIF. Violently millennial.
No, that's really cute. No, I'm literally sitting here going, okay, Zach and I want to do a vow renewal for our 10th anniversary. And I want a GIF maker.
Wait.
That's so cool.
Wait. I'm sorry, because I just get so sidetracked.
Yeah.
You know that I told Connor that I think that like we should start encouraging weddings to be a finite amount of time.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like it should be a contract. So it's like, I'll marry you for like 10 years and then in 10 years we can like discuss. And
that's funny.
And then you renew your vows. Because I think that the pressure of life is like so aggressive.
That's so interesting.
But it's like, yeah, no, we'll get married for 10 years and then like we'll renew
and
our vows.
And then we'll reconsider.
I love the thought of a vow renewal.
We got to talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
Because
we'll
okay.
put a pin in that.
You just blew my mind. Okay, GIFs are violently millennial. Gen Z does not use GIFs.
What do they use? Are they emoji girlies?
They are, but that segues into the next bullet point, which is there are certain emojis that have been deemed millennial.
I know exactly what it is.
The crying laughing emoji. The crying laughing
My
emoji is very
emoji.
millennial.
And I use
another
both.
one.
I alternate like the one that
I
the face like that.
I like
and
the
then
one that's sideways. I like the one that's sideways. I do tend to use her.
But I do it like I make it like active, so it's like ha 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 ha. ha
so you're essentially creating a GIF out of emojis. You're wow.
But do you know what I mean? Like I use my two thumbs and I'm like
so okay, we need to now increase the scale because this is like a Chernobyl nuclear power reactor level of Violently Millennial that you have used alternating emojis to create, in essence, your own GIF.
Also, do you love the animation of that?
Yeah, oh, no, I'm do it. We're going to make that a GIF and post it on Instagram. I'm going to need that clip for editing.
I cannot.
That is hilarious. Yeah. So the crying, laughing emojis, I know, are like #1 millennial.
What about sobbing?
No, so see, that's the thing. So like the one with like the tears streaming down the face, to Gen Z, that is a laughing emoji.
I actually have heard this, and
Yes.
but what is like the name of these emojis? Like they all have a name.
Yeah, they do. I mean, that one is like I think like a sobbing emoji or something like that.
Yeah, no, whenever I have like texted Gen Z people that use that as like a laughing.
It's laughing.
But I feel like I always interpreted it when Gen Z uses the tears streaming down the face, that it's like I'm laughing because it's like cringe.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean? Like
what
oh
is
my
this
God.
emoji called? We're on emojipedia.org.
Oh my God. But you know how like
and the link was purple, which means I've visited this website before, which also feels violently millennial.
But you know how like Gen Z will like awkwardly laugh like
we're wrong. This emoji is a loudly crying face.
Okay.
Loudly crying.
Yeah, so I think like I'm thinking like Ben Platt, Dear Evan Hansen. Like
I mean, okay, well, let me read you the description.
Okay.
A yellow face with an open mouth wailing and streams of heavy tears flowing from closed eyes may convey inconsolable grief, but also other intense feelings such as uncontrollable laughter, pride, or overwhelming joy. In March 2021, loudly crying face became the most popular emoji on Twitter.
Wow. Who was president? Oops. Wait,
that out.
so then what is the other
That doesn't fit our
one?
agenda. Cut it.
What is the crying laughing? Because don't some people use that as like sweating or something?
Face with tears of joy is what that one says.
What would you even use that? If
A
it was
yellow,
like we got the apartment and I sent that emoji, like that would be rude.
that would not be tears of joy. That's like, haha, idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it feels to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, a yellow face with a big grin, uplifted eyebrows, and smiling eyes, each shedding a tear from laughing so hard, widely used to show something as funny or pleasing.
What are some like Gen Z emoji? Oh, you know what emoji I feel like they love is like the pink heart with the little like sparkles.
Did you love a sparkle heart, I think?
That one,
the heart hands? Which is funny because that is the millennial heart hands. That's not the Gen Z heart hands.
And not this one.
This is, well, okay, so I saw somebody say the other day that this is Gen Alpha, but this is K-pop. This
I was
has
about
been a
to say,
thing.
this is Asia.
This has been a thing in like Korea and Japan for
China,
years.
yeah.
For years. The two fingers has been a thing for years. So that's, I mean, I'm not going to give that to Gen Alpha. That's that's Korean, that's Japanese. That's,
Yeah, they don't get
Gen
that.
Z emojis. How Gen Z uses emoji. I guess the singular is the plural. A guide for millennials.
This is nuclear.
I do use this one, skull emoji, as a symbol for laughter. You guys know that.
Oh,
you guys know I use that a lot.
yes.
I skull
like,
a lot.
I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm dead. But I add a little flair to it. I actually do the skull with the crossbone, so people know like I'm a pirate. Like I'm laughing at this har. Like it gives like a little bit of a pirate vibe that I like to bring to the party.
So if it's really funny, I do laugh, skull, laugh.
We're creating more GIFs here. Okay. Clown face emoji, I do use a lot. That's another Gen Z favorite.
I don't, but they do love that.
It's a good one. Try using it.
I know.
It's so satisfying when you instead of just being like, oh my God, that person's so stupid, or like that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Just sending a clown emoji
that is
sometimes
really good.
conveys so much more.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, loudly crying face emoji is number
Okay.
3. We've already discussed the tears streaming down the face. Grinning face with sweat emoji. The one that's like a little,
that's
little
the
sweat.
cringe. That's the cringe. Like
This
the like,
one-
oh, awkward, right?
Oh God, this really was written for millennials. This really is a millennial guide.
Oh, no.
The description of this one says, you know the meme that shows the cartoon dog sitting in a burning room saying, this is fine? This is the emoji version of that.
The sweat?
Yep. Example, for Gen Z, this emoji means I'm stressed, but I'm fine.
The name of this episode just needs to be all emojis.
All emojis. That's it. It'll tank our SEO, but that's okay. Thumbs up emoji. While millennials once used this to say good job or I've got it, Gen Z prefers to use it ironically. All roads lead back to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because this is an argument they actually had on the show. Because one of the women just like responded to another one's text with a thumbs up. And she was like, I was saying thumbs up, like, yeah, cool, got it. And the other one was like, you know a thumbs up means fuck you.
Oh my. Okay, so to be fair, though, this is why it's important to know your history. Because the reason that they use it ironically is because now you can thumbs up the actual message. But we didn't always have
that. Correct.
We didn't always have that.
Okay. Folded hands emoji.
Okay, this one is not they say it's not praying, right? They say it's like something else.
Folded hands emoji has confused people for a long time. Are they praying? Are they high-fiving?
Yes.
The answer may depend on your generation.
High five. Yes.
So while this one has commonly been used to indicate a millennial high five, maybe for people who didn't grow up in church, it's always looked like prayers to me.
Yeah, it's thoughts and prayers.
Gen Z uses it as a way of saying thank you or indicating that they're really hoping for something. Example, tell me you have an extra ticket to the Brandi Carlile show.
Not Brandi Carlile.
Okay, next. Fire emoji. We all know the meaning of this. Yeah. Oh my God. Eyes emoji. Obsessed with this one.
Obsessed with the eyes emoji.
I love that emoji.
Yeah. I just imagine I'm like a dog.
Yeah.
Like Oreo.
Like, because it could mean so many things.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's like side eye, like with an attitude, but sometimes it's also like, oh, tell me more. Like it can be a little cheeky.
Yeah.
A little cheeky.
That's the one emoji that I want to find a way to like emphasize when I use it, because when you use multiple, it just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Because there's like 8 eyeballs.
And then it's like,
but like,
weird.
You know, like you'll like use,
yes.
Oh, is that millennial? Like
what?
Using the same emoji multiple times, like to emphasize it?
Maybe.
Instead of
That's
just
a good
one
question.
at a time.
I don't have an answer for that. Okay, I need somebody to, Kaven, tell us. Does Gen Z use one emoji or multiple emojis? You're our Gen Z consultant. I need you to tell us.
Because like if something is really funny, I will like
many emojis.
And then like because this is the thing is we text like it's AIM.
Yes.
So don't you remember when you would then like copy and paste and like Control V to make it like huge?
Mm-hmm. And I know that you're talking about AIM because you said Control V, like you're on
a PC.
A PC. Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll just do a couple more. The hourglass emoji is apparently a Gen Z favorite.
For what?
Hourglass, not to indicate anything to do with time. Other generations might use this to mean time is ticking. Oh, this is fascinating. Or you're on the clock. Gen Z uses it when someone is attractive. Think the classic hourglass figure.
Gen Z isn't going to look at a body and objectify a body.
This also says
they're wearing baggy clothes. They wouldn't know if they're an hourglass.
The pregnant woman emoji has also taken on a second meaning that has to do with how hot people are. If someone reacts with a pregnant woman emoji, it could mean the subject matter is so attractive, it made the person responding pregnant.
Yes, yes.
Sabrina Carpenter wrote a whole song about it. It's my favorite. It's so good.
Really?
Juno?
Oh.
Listen to Juno. First of all, it's a bop. Second of all, the whole premise of the song is you're so hot, I'd let you get me pregnant. I love Juno.
I probably know it. I just didn't know it.
My It's so good.
Sing.
It's so good. Stop. I'll start doing karaoke right now. Anyway, yeah, lots of emojis. Oh, this is funny. The red heart emoji is apparently used to soften the blow of a negative response. So if somebody said skinny jeans are still cool, right? They would respond no with a heart.
Yes. That's the example.
That's literally the example on this thing. This is a great art. I really thank you, dictionary.com. This is a good article.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is from dictionary.com. It is
they
a couple of
actually
years
have a really
old.
good social media team. Their Twitter pops up.
This article is a couple of years old, so please let us know if this has been updated. Okay, I have two more things that are Violently Millennial.
Okay.
Internet edition. One, boomerangs on Instagram.
And the cheersing, start in the middle and go out.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is
Boomerangs.
very Violently Millennial.
Boomerangs are very millennial.
Yeah,
You love a boomerang.
Connor
you love a boomerang.
loves a boomerang.
You love, and it's so entertaining. I love it.
Screaming.
Yeah, boomerangs are Violently Millennial. And the
Yeah.
last one, this is a really fun one. Have you heard of big screen activities?
No.
So millennials have a tendency that Gen Z does not have, which is that certain internet activities and specifically certain internet purchases are big screen activities versus small screen activities. So let me ask you this. Would you buy airplane tickets or book a hotel on your phone?
Absolutely.
Or would you go get your
a
computer? Correct. Big screen activity. That's a big screen activity. But online shopping, you're buying jorts
Sure.
from American Eagle. You do that on your phone.
Shorts.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Jorts are millennial. I just threw it out there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So, but they call it a big screen or a small screen?
Yeah.
Interesting.
so like, you're like, oh, there's a new episode of Agatha. I have Disney Plus. I'm going to watch it. Are you going to watch it on your phone or are you going to go get your
No.
iPad or a laptop? If you don't, if we don't have a TV, obviously, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah,
you're not
iPad.
going to watch Netflix on your phone.
But a lot of Gen Z people, my
Correct.
friend Liliana who lived with me, who's Gen Z, like she's so Gen Z and she loves millennials.
Mhm.
Like she loves all things millennial. She thinks it's like cute.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like geriatric.
Yeah. She's like, oh my God, that's so retro.
No,
and I'm like,
she will like, when I lived together, I was like, Mama, I have an 85-inch
television.
TV.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, no, but I just like watching it on my phone. And she'll like make her little breakfast and just like prop her phone
Yeah.
up and like, what?
Yeah.
Like she's reading the newspaper, like watching her TV show. And the TV's right there.
So we as millennials have big screen activities and small screen activities. And Gen Z does not subscribe to that notion.
Mm.
Like the thought of like booking a flight, like just like on the Delta app on my phone seems insane to me. I'm like, no, I need a computer. Like
Correct.
I need.
But the reason I also do that is because in Southern California, we have 27 airports. And so I have a tab open of every single airline, like cross-referencing. And like, you
Mhm.
can't really do that on
No,
a
you can't.
phone.
Well, and then I also like, I want to check like, okay, well, if I want to use my points, is it like, and then I look at the
It's
MX
a whole
portal and I'm like,
thing.
is it cheaper there? Or is it better if I transfer my points to Delta? And like, it's a whole process.
Yeah.
I'm not just like, oh, hey Siri, can you book me a flight to Florida? Like, that's just not
Right.
happening.
Yeah, no.
Props to you guys for like being able to do big screen
What
activities
is
on
I'm
a
trying
small
to
screen.
what's like an example of a small screen activity for them that's definitely a big screen besides buying a flight?
Most of what I've seen is like purchases, like big
Okay.
screen versus small screen purchases is a
Mhm.
one. But like I said, TV, like watching YouTube or watching episodes of TV,
Yeah.
like they will do just like on their phone, and we're like, no,
Right.
I can't do that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's our show.
Yeah,
And
that wraps it.
It's a big deal. This is our last episode in this space.
It is. I know.
We are moving to the Paramount lot. I'm kidding.
Correct. Our show got bought by Netflix.
Yeah.
It's
We
crazy.
are
crazy.
HBO Max, actually.
Moving on up.
But yeah, Connor and I are moving to LA officially, and
I'm
we'll
so
be in
excited.
Glendale.
And selfishly, I'm very excited that it will now take me 20 minutes
I know
to drive
it's
over
been insane.
and hang out and record this instead of an hour and a half.
Yeah. So next time you see us, we'll still have these chairs, but it'll look a little
different. So. I'm excited for the new setup.
Oh yeah, me too. It'll be very fun.
Anyway, thank you everyone for watching and for listening.
Like, subscribe, follow, review, DM,
do all the things.
Emoji.
Yeah.
Laughing.
That. You know what? If you've made it this far, go to our Instagram and comment your favorite emoji on our most recent post.
Period.
And maybe we'll send you a Disney pin or something. I don't know.
A Yellow Cup Club pin.
I will hand make you a Yellow Cup Club pin because that's how we get those. I have a button maker and it's a lot of work.
Well, happy Halloween. Have a spoopy time.
Not spoopy.
We'll see you real soon.
Bye. The Childless Millennials is a podcast hosted by Jacob Heron and Kaylin Kelly. The show is produced by Connor Warren Smith with music by Connor Warren Smith.